Hey, you don't know me yet, but my name's Mark Hilly. I've been sim racing competitively for just over a year now, and in that time I've gotten numerous podiums, wins, and even a championship across multiple cars and disciplines. But I'm always trying to push for more, especially in real life. So this is the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. It's an event that brings together the best drivers from some of the biggest Formula Leagues in Australia, GSRC, FDL, and SRW. They host 4 races a year after each season, and each has some pretty strong pace on the grid. So this was round 3 at Mount Panorama, Bathurst. There was rain in practice beforehand, so puddles pretty much everywhere, and I had 15 minutes of qualifying to try and get myself as fast a lap as possible before 60 minutes of racing. So I will let the video talk for itself.
I lied. I will be commentating over this part. So, pit exit, started qualifying 15 minutes, like I said. Lovely puddle on pit exit, which I decided to absolutely floor it in and get a bunch of rear wheel spin. And on our lap was yet more chaos. Nasty puddle there, but even nastier crash up ahead. That's 3 cars I had to dodge through Skyline. And now, onto the start of our first lap. I really just decided, yep, I'm going to build up this session. I'm going to take it easy. So instead, I just hard charged it through turn 1 and put it my right hand side in that puddle. Further on the lap, more chaos at Skyline. Even more chaos on my 5th lap. It was like that scene in Cars, realistically. But anyway, we're right on board for my hot lap, lap 7. Dodging the puddles on the apex and exit of turn 1, slicing between those two on the run down to turn 2. Braking just after the 50-meter board, letting the camber do the work. Just grazing up on the curbing, don't want to bottom out. And then into the cutting, dodge the apex a little bit to set you up with a better run. Hard on the power in 2nd gear. Dodging that apex puddle yet again. And then don't actually have to bring it out too wide here like you would in any other car, because these have so much grip. Dodge that puddle in the middle of the track, that thing's quite nasty, and then just let the aero do the work through here. And this, I believe it got quite dry, yeah. A little more water than I'd like, but anyway, down through the cutting, down to 4th, down to 3rd. Try and open up this section as much as you can, but the rear does get a little light, so try not to lose it. Now down towards Forest Elbow, braking a bit early, dodging that tiny little puddle at the apex there and bringing it nice and close without getting any wheel damage against the wall. Hard on the power, and I will let the commentators take it from here.
Has he been able to piece it together to the final corner to try and eclipse Mark Hilly on the final lap of the qualifying session? No, but Sean Campbell does! And Lewis goes down! Sean Campbll goes the death! 1:59.648 for Sean Campbell. Lewis improved. Hilly responds. Hilly has got pole.
What the hell?
3 changes to the leaderboard in the final moments of the session, and that's why we love the Australian Open Wheel Nationals. Hilly gets pole, and he still put 1/4 of a second on Campbell.
Now, I was pretty delighted to have gotten pole position by about 1/4 of a second, but now lining up on the grid, I was in pole, 2nd place being taken by my teammate Sean Campbell with a beautiful helmet there, but he was looking quite quick. Same with my teammate in 3rd, Harry. He is very quick and he could have set a very nice lap time. He was on for a very quick lap in qualifying. As Rayhana, my championship rival for a different series, is down in 4th. So now with the lights out, I actually got an okay launch. Sean in 2nd didn't, so he drops down to 4th, which sounds okay, but it really just puts someone who isn't my teammate further up the pack. So not ideal. And what's even more not ideal is the absolute smoke screen down at turn 1. Always lovely to see the midfield in chaos, but now you can see Rayhana jumping out of the slipstream of my teammate and putting a move up into P2 at turn 2. So I was not very pleased to see that my main competition had been put directly behind me within 2 corners, but I was just going to drive the car, and as you can see on lap 4 we'd managed to pull out a gap so you could hardly see him through turn 1. But why am I slowing up? That's because, ladies and gentlemen, that is the safety car out on track, and that is me driving past it. Now you might be wondering, why am I driving past it? That's because my radio didn't work. I couldn't hear a word that race control was telling me, so when my teammates started yelling at me to drop behind the safety car, I did. Which you can see here as I slammed on the brakes.
I've never done anything like this before.
Okay, calm down. Look, I'm not a cop.
So it actually worked out quite well, as I think everyone else was too busy with their own race, so no one actually really saw it, and I got away penalty free. But safety car eventually pulled in with a very normal pit entry right there, and end of lap 5 onto lap 6, I came out of the final corner letting my teammates know so that we could hopefully run away from the rest of the pack and just sort of tow each other along. Rayhana came in the pits as the safety car was called to try and get an undercut on us, as another one of our teammates goes off at the exit of turn 1, which is somewhat foreshadowing for what goes on later. But end of lap 6, another safety car was called, and I pulled into the pit lanes, dodging the absolute river that was pit entry. And as we go on board with my teammate here, you can see I really fumbled the pit entry there, just the timing line. I really overslowed, so he was basically right behind me, and then because he slowed up so much better than me in the pit stop and also put a little less fuel in, he completely jumped me, and I got the Ferrari pit stop experience. So now we've made it to lap 8. Safety car went in this time, and we had already made up another position up to P10. All the cars ahead hadn't pitted, so we were going to get ahead on strategy, but once again, another car off. Now P9, but we couldn't afford to sit behind them and win the race on strategy because there would be quicker cars behind, so we did actually have to start making moves. Speaking of moves, lovely piece of driving there, as we'll go on board with my teammate here, and I think I'll just let you see for yourself. It is slightly suboptimal. I usually try staying off the puddles, but he had other ideas, and then that put my teammate completely out of the race. So on the one hand, it was nice to have a little less competition, but on the other, I do feel quite bad, as being taken out sucks. But we had a race to win now, so currently P6, start of lap 9, up towards the cutting. Now at Skyline, someone else had gone off, now up to P5, and end of lap 11 we caught up to one of my old friends, Jackson Dial, who did a very nice thing up here and just let me know he was not going to fight me here, which I really appreciate, as he just backs out, lets me at the inside into turn 1, and that is P4. 3 cars ahead were a bit feisty, as I just weaved to let him know, but looking forward, 3 cars ahead now, towards the end of lap 12, exiting Forest Elbow. I was looking to make a move up to P3 here to then start challenging the front 2, but I don't know what it was with Slipstream in this car, but Slipstream really just didn't seem to be able to do anything. As you can see, net P2 and 3 there, still waiting in the clutches, but I really just had to start making moves here. So down towards the chase, I looked to open up the line, try and get a switch back on P3, which I'd got a good exit, but just because he had the inside, he managed to keep his nose ahead, and I really just didn't have any performance to get ahead. So now I tucked in through the final corner, hoping to make something happen maybe later on, maybe into turn 1, but I thought better of it and decided, no, I'm just going to play it patient, I'm just going to wait till turn 2, and in that process backed off way too much and completely lost any semblance of slipstream, which now meant that I would have to wait until later in the lap. As you can see, I have a look to the inside and really just can't do anything with it, so we'll stay on board here, as I tried to dummy to the outside to try and get him to open up, but he did not fall for it. Through the cutting now, staying off the apex puddle, and yeah, you can see the slipstream's there. I was gaining a bit, but there were really, due to the puddles, there was really just nothing I could do. I also didn't want to throw a race win away, so I wasn't going to go for some crazy bomb as much as I might have wanted to. But anyway, down through the cutting, you can see I really backed off here just to open up the gap and minimize dirty air, as I then pushed pretty hard and gained a little bit of time back. But you'll notice it here through Forest Elbow. Lock up from the leader, bunches them all up, and I get a pretty nice exit. I'm not too far away, and turning around, yeah, you can see just how much net P2 and 3 of Sean and Rayhana have caught up now. So
Come get you some crunchy, boy.
yeah, basically worked out perfectly here. They just trundled themselves off altogether, and I saw the gap and took it. So P1 now, started at lap 14, gap to my teammate behind. From now until basically the end of the race, I just had to maintain a gap here. As you can see, it fluctuates between 0.6, 0.7. We were catching lap traffic towards the end, which is why you sometimes see it get a bit closer and a bit further. But like you could sort of see when I was trying to get past P3, the slipstream really was not that powerful around here. So even though Sean was like very, you would call this overtaking territory, he really just couldn't put a move on. So now we caught lap traffic in lap 25 and 26, but yeah, you can I'll show a live interval here, but gap was now at about a second on the final lap through turn 2. I had a previous league race here where I lost it from P3 on the second last lap at the dipper, so I was pushing really hard this lap, gap up to 1.3 seconds, but down towards the dipper I just took it easy. You can see gained about 2/10 on me there, but I was now through. I was on the final stretch, just had to nail Forest Elbow, which I did. Gap at just over a second. It's classic Australian internet there, just ruining my drama. But anyway, it felt pretty good. I only had 2 corners to go. I will let the commentators take it from here.
He's been improving throughout 2025 massively. Finished 8th place in our second season of 2025. Wasn't really a factor for the title before taking home the title last season. Took the championship lead after the second round and took it home from there. Didn't have a good round at Bathurst, but he's going to win here tonight. A great bit of driving from him to hold on from Sean Campbell by just over a second to win the Australian Open Wheel Nationals.
And you can only stop and applaud that, ladies and gentlemen. What a phenomenal drive that was. Pole to race win in amongst all the challenges, obstacles, safety cars, strategies, etc, etc.
So that's pretty much it. I'm very happy to have gotten pole and come out on top, but there's still room for improvement. Sorry for the poor video quality. I'm going to try and fix that before my next race, and also make sure I have a webcam so that way you guys can actually see how I was in the race rather than the composed version you have right now. But yeah, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it more than you understand. And if this does well, I might do more recaps of my races or any other content you want to see. So thanks.